Manifesting Heart, the place that inspires you to follow your heart and dream big. I'm your host, Torny, and I'm still speaking to you from Mexico. I hope you had an amazing week and that you're ready for the last month of this year, December. It's just crazy to think that it's December already, especially looking out and it's all summer and sunny. Nothing is looking like Christmas whatsoever. But when I walk into the stores, I see Christmas is everywhere. And I'm like, really? It just doesn't match the circumstances here. And especially what I'm used to back home, it's all snowy, winter, it's cold, it's dark, you see the lights and everything. So yeah, enough about that. That was not what I'm going to talk about today. But in today's episode, I will share with you, I will talk about why I have faith and believe that everything will turn out fine, even though nothing seems to be fine in the moment, and how my old self taught me to believe in that. So let's dive in. I'm ready. It's been 3 months since we came here to Playa del Carmen, Mexico. And I know that why other people are not taking the leap or jumping into the unknown is because they are letting the fears hold them back, right? And I don't say I don't have fears. I still have them. I just have overcome them in some way. And there are still days that the voices of doubt come and everything feels scary. I'm like questioning everything. What am I doing here? Because also we don't have a house or anything to come back to. And the fact that I'm still living off my savings and I don't officially have an income yet. So I must admit that the first week here, I was really in my head thinking, what am I doing? And how is this supposed to turn out? And I was scared. So I started to look for jobs on Finn. And then I was like, okay, Torny, sit down. And I said to myself, you've been through this before. Don't stress yourself out because it will work out this time as well. I just don't know how. And then I got my confidence back to believe that, yes, it's going to work out. And I'm still here. And here's why. Or here's the story behind it that made me believe that it's going to work out. Because 6 years ago, I came back to Norway for my Easter vacation after living in Ecuador with my boyfriend at that time. So because it was an Easter vacation, I came back with 2 suitcases. I had $1,000 on my bank account, and I found out I was pregnant. I could not think of a worse time to be pregnant. And there I was, 31-year-old. I was staying at my mom's boyfriend's house that didn't even feel like home. I didn't have a job. I didn't have money. And the father of my child was living in another country. I was 3 weeks pregnant, according to the pregnancy test. I took it twice, of course, to make sure it was right. What do I do now? My life just turned upside down within a second when the pregnancy test showed positive. I was scared. I was afraid. And I remember lying in the bedroom in this house thinking of all the possible outcomes of my situation. I went through all of the emotions. And I remember in one way I was happy, but I was scared to death. And my biggest fear was coming up to surface. I was scared not to be able to support myself since I didn't have a job. The baby dad wasn't in a position to support me either. And since I was a student back at that time and I hadn't been working, I didn't have the rights to receive the money from the government either. I had probably rights to receive something, but I didn't look into it because I knew I didn't have a job, so my government couldn't support me because of my past income, right? I just knew I had $1,000. That's all. And I knew that with $1,000, you don't get anything. You cannot even, maybe I could buy a bed, nothing else. So the financial situation was really bad. And my biggest concern was being a 31-year-old, living with my mom and her boyfriend and raise my baby in his house. I was like, hell no, that's not even an option. I was out of myself. I wasn't feeling well, I lost my appetite, and I spent a lot of time in my mind. And yeah, even though everything seemed to fall down, I always had the inner belief that it will work out somehow. But I just didn't see how back then. I remember I called one of my old colleagues. She is a good friend of mine, and I went to have lunch with her. After I found out I was pregnant, of course. And she's a friend that I hadn't seen for a long time, and she's a very positive-minded person like I usually am. So I shared the news with her that I was pregnant during our lunch. And she said, of course, congratulations, that's amazing. And I was like, yeah, I guess that's good news, but I don't have anything. How am I supposed to move forward? And she goes, Torny, having a baby is not that hard. And you can do this. And she also referred to me with an example of a friend of her that also had an abortion back in the days, and now she got pregnant and she got a baby. And she's like, oh, if I knew it was that easy or not that hard, she would, of course, did it the past time as well. And she said that, and she made it sound that it was easy. You can do this alone. Don't worry about the material stuff. It will be all taken care of. And she assured me that I didn't even need that much stuff. And for me this time, she was like the right person at the right time, saying exactly the things that I needed to hear. And that changed my perspective on my situation that day. I remember after our lunch, my mind, it shifted from being, oh, this is the hardest thing ever, to this is, I can possibly do this. Because I believed before that everything had to be perfect. And my situation was far from perfect. But she convinced me that even though I was alone and didn't have anything sorted out on paper, I could still do this. And my energy shifted. I walked out, I was more positive and happy in a way. But I still went to have the ultrasound at the hospital, so I could make a choice between keeping it or to have an abortion, basically. Even though I knew abortion wasn't an option for me, I still went. Just to be sure I made the right choice for me at that time. That was also the final turning point for me. Because when they did the ultrasound, they asked me if I wanted to look at the screen, and I said yes. And in that moment, I looked at the screen, I saw a tiny baby and a heart beating. I knew for sure that I am having this baby. It's mine. And that's when I committed. And when I say I committed, I say that I accepted the situation, I trusted, and I surrendered that everything just have to work out. And guess what? It did. Everything worked out. I got a job straight away. It was a job offer just coming out from the blue that I didn't even see coming. So that saved my financial situation, which was my biggest concern since I had $1,000 in my account. And a month later, I found a place to live. One of my friends, she had bought a house so I could move into the apartment she had rented from her uncle. And it was a fully furnished apartment in the middle of the center, so I didn't need a car. So I could walk to my job, and now I was able to pay for my apartment. Just to put this in a time perspective, I came home from Ecuador in the middle of March. I think it was the 18th of March. 2 months later, I had a job and I could pay for my own place to live and create the space I needed for myself and for my baby. So it turns out perfectly. Suddenly, I just had it all. Everything eventually fell into place like it was meant to be. So this is almost 6 years ago, and my 3 weeks vacation turned into 5 years. And every time I go through a moment of doubt, I always think back on that time when I came back with nothing and I still survived. And now I have something, and I believe that I can do even better. Even though it's scary living from the savings at the moment and don't know how and don't know what to happen next, I still chose to jump because I trust the magic of doing it since I did it before. The difference is this time it was my own decision, and last time it happened unexpectedly. And I was fighting against it until I eventually surrendered. So now I'm not letting my fear stop me because I don't know the outcome, but I don't stop believing. I work up my energy and I take action on the things that I have to do because no one is here to do it for me. In order for something to happen, you have to make it happen. And that's what I did in the past as well. I made it happen because I showed up. I took the action on making the decision. I took the action on the job. I took the action on reaching out to my friend. I took the action on reaching out to the other friend about the apartment, call her uncle, hey, can I rent it? So I don't say I just sat down and things are eventually aligning for me, because it wasn't. I was committed and I took the step that I needed to take, which is the action. And as I said in the first episode, we are the creator of our own life. And I decided to step into the front seat of the car of my own life and create it my way. So that's what I'm here doing now as well. And learning from my old self and from my past experience that I could do it back then, and take that into the version that I have become today to create new experiences. And to trust that it will be fine this time as well. Even though I don't have the answer today, maybe I will have it next month or in 2 months or maybe even next week. I don't know, but I'm trusting myself and the process, and maybe it will turn out even better than I ever imagined. Who knows? And that's why most of us don't do this, because you're too afraid of the unknown and what's going to happen next. And even though I don't know what's going to happen next, I'm still here. I'm still taking actions every day. I'm creating this podcast. I'm sharing this story because it's also the magic of sharing it in the moment. And when I'm going to look back at this one later, maybe I will tell you in some few episodes that, hey, this is how it actually worked out this time as well. But I don't know. Maybe I will share with you in a month or in 2 months. Nobody knows, but all I know is that my past self is teaching me now that it's possible. Just keep trusting, keep believing in yourself, taking the action and commit, and see how the magic will turn out this time as well. And with that said, I wish you a joyful and magical December filled with lots of love and magic wherever you are. And thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you like it, please share it with your friends or tag me on my Instagram. It's tornywigum. Take care, and I will see you in the next episode. Lots of love from Playa del Carmen. Take care. Bye bye.